This is Randy Santel.
Good morning.
Randy, what is the agenda today?
Today we are going to Pripyat and Chernobyl. We are going to get a tour of both and it's going to be awesome.
That's awesome. How'd this all come about?
Well, my friend Lukas contacted me. He's been watching our videos for a long time. He is a radiation specialist from Chicago, and he has invited us and he's given us a private tour.
So is this like a perk of being Randy Santel in your travels?
It's not too bad.
Yeah, this is a very unique experience, so that's why we're bringing you a different flavor behind the scenes. I will say, being with you, it's never a dull moment. You have to understand, Randy is always going. So it's crazy. It's great. It really is always going. So we're looking forward to...
What's not going is the city we're going to, because it hasn't been inhabited for like 33 years, since 1986.
Look at him, he's a wealth of knowledge.
I am. I read a lot of leather-bound books.
All right, so I guess we have a 30-minute train ride, and then we're going to two distinct different places, and one of them is the power plant. Nobody ever gets to do that. Again, a perk of being with Randy Santel. So sit back, relax, enjoy this video, because we don't know what to expect, right?
It's gonna be cool. I've seen a lot of the YouTube videos from travelers who have gone here, but seeing it ourselves is gonna be our own little story in itself.
It is. So,
and I'm glad Todd is here with us.
Telling a different side. The other thing is Epidemic Sound down below. If you watch the other one, they're helping us with some of the soundtracks and stuff on this trip for these types of videos. So there's a link in the description to help Randy do other things. So just click that if you ever want a 30-day trial. So other than that, we're out. Let's go have some fun.
Let's do it.
So
only workers get on this bus.
Only workers. We have like this
Todd, Chris, and Randy.
behind the stage, behind the scenes thing. This is, look at this train. This is crazy.
The intro for the video is going to be Lukas and I, and he's going to tell us. Hey everybody, Randy Santel here. I am very, very excited today. This is going to be a very special video. Who I'm with here is my friend Lukas. You're actually from Chicago, right? Yes. He has actually, for the last 5 years, been working in Chernobyl at the power plant, and he lives here in the Ukraine now, and he invited us to come over and kind of get a tour of where he works. So what are we going to be doing today?
So today we're going to head into the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. We're going to talk about the history in the region, we're going to talk about the history of operations, and then we're going to go visit Pripyat in the afternoon, which is a city formerly where the workers lived.
It's going to be an awesome experience, and we just want to take you guys along to be kind of part of all this. Not many people get to do. So today we're going to be seeing a lot of sights, and happy to have you following and watching with us.
I think the crazy part is just knowing that I'm on a train for history's sake going into Chernobyl. It's kind of like a historical event with the workers. I don't know, it's just different. It's really hard to put on words. Don't think about it. I never thought that I would be sitting on a train heading into Chernobyl, but it'll be a good time. So, looking forward to it. So right now, Randy and I are walking with the workers. They're all going to work.
We just got off the train.
And we're going to CFF Van, which is Lukas's company. And then non-profit we'll go over later, but it's kind of exciting.
Hey Todd, we're all quitting. You can make $250 a month here. Sick. Sick. That's more than YouTube.
Okay, here's the briefing. Are you ready? This is what you expect when you come to Chernobyl.
So there's a couple rules to keep you safe in Chernobyl. This is all about administrative controls. The main thing is not to get contamination on your bodies, not to get contamination on your clothes, not to inhale or ingest it in any way. So we have some simple administrational controls. Don't rub up against things. Don't wipe things with your hands. Don't lean against the wall and hold the building up. Keep your bags up off the ground. If you need to take your bag off, have someone else hold it for you. Take your stuff out. Anything that you put on the ground can potentially be contaminated. If it gets contaminated, you leave it here in the zone. So the next thing is, we're about to head into an industrial area. We're heading into an active work zone. This is also a place where in the past, people have received lethal exposure. So this is a kind of a serious place that we're walking into. When we're in Pripyat, it's a different mentality, but here's an active work zone, so let's just kind of keep that in mind as we're going through. We're going to try and stay out of the way.
It's not a museum.
It's not a museum. This is still an active industrial
This
facility.
is a tour of death.
So it's,
This is the tour of death. This is what...
And we all have long sleeves and pants on.
Yes.
So this is one of the
I got this
administrational
specially for Chernobyl because I don't fit in normal clothes.
So we have long sleeves and clothes on to prevent whatever contamination in the environment from getting on our clothes. If your shirt gets contaminated, you have to leave your shirt behind. That's one thing. If your skin gets contaminated and they have to scrub it off, that's a different thing. So that's part of the rules for being here in the zone. So we're headed into the administration block. There's 8 different levels of security up to the military police, the secret police. So they're always being watched here. There's cameras everywhere. So what we're going to do is be as good of guests as we can. We're going to head into these areas and get to see something that not many people get to see. One of the places that we're going to visit today is Valeri Khodemchuk's memorial. Valeri Khodemchuk died on the night of the accident. He died in the explosion itself. They never recovered his body. And so there's a memorial for him inside of the power plant.
Cool.
So we're going to go see that. That's one of the things that we're
All
going
right,
to do
so
today as well.
let's go get the let's get this party started.
Let's go do it. And it's also our friend Sandra's first time here.
Oh, isn't that neat? We call her the spy, aka the spy.
She's got 3 passports.
All different pictures. All right, let's go.
This side faces out. This is your dosimeter. This is how they're going to track your radiation dose throughout the day. This one goes on your neck. That side faces out like this.
Good.
Radioactive. When it was constructed, so this is Unit 4 and Unit 3. They're built back to back, and in fact, they have many shared components between the two. This was an advanced RBMK reactor design. At the time of the accident, you can see the reactor building was destroyed. This is the reactor vessel itself. So over the next 8 months, they put together the original object shelter, which is primarily steel and concrete. They pushed all of the debris back in and then sealed everything off. This structure, like I said, was built in 8 months, and it also relies heavily on the remaining walls of the reactor building itself for support. So they noticed in like the late 1990s that the western wall was starting to do 30 years. So then in the early 2000s, we approved the design for the arch. Then when it was completed in November of 2016, it was pushed by hydraulic engines in place over the object shelter. So now today, this is what we have. So the object shelter is underneath the largest movable, man-made movable structure that was ever built. It's large enough you could put the Roman Colosseum or the Statue of Liberty underneath it.
Okay. You can't see me because I'm in a secret corridor. There's Randy back there.
I'm dying.
We're going to get our suits on. Randy's dying. Long walk.
find your life away.
That's what she's saying.
You're gonna sit down on this side, take your shoes off. When we come back, don't wear these on this side of the clean line.
So this is the clean. This is the clean.
No cameras.
We are entering the golden corridor. This is the post thing. So this is basically all gold, so it's easier to clean. Randy looks great, doesn't he?
Oh yeah.
It's gonna get dark. We're getting dark.
Switchyard control room. This is.
So the switchyard is still operating. The switchyard is still delivering power throughout the region. So in here, so the power that you guys use in the hotel is still being pushed
From here.
from here.
It's like they still have the same stuff from. It's true. Why?
110 kilovolts, 330, 750 are still getting pushed off. And you can still see the dish line. It's getting distributed offset.
The level of security in this is like crazy. Like we've gone through 2, 3 security checkpoints. It's pretty cool. Also, Randy is ready.
I am ready.
Uh-oh. We in trouble?
No, I just miss you. I want to be on camera.
He likes being on camera. Don't you?
I feel pretty today.
How's that button?
It's rough.
It's a rough button.
Been through a lot.
After, on the night of the accident, for example, they had to get the Scholar reports, but it takes 30 seconds for the computer to do the printout, and then you have to run it from here to the control room, give it to the operators. They can review all of the data that's coming out over the last time period. So this is a incredible room because this is, a piece of 1970s computer.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. This is the brain for the power plant. Does all the computing, prints out all of the work right now. But this is kind of like the memory tape, and it would record every parameter that was coming out.
We are in something called the Scholar Room. This was the original computer room for the system Chernobyl was happening. And it took 30 seconds to get the information back to the main area to find out what was going on. These are all the computer banks that were used to keep track of it all. Crazy? This is pretty cool.
And I also have no idea what is going on because this is all way over my head.
4 terabytes.
I know your father.
Hey guys, right now we are in the Chernobyl control room that just controls everything, and actually right here is kind of where this was the button that was pushed that kind of triggered the whole big blast. But keep in mind while you're looking at all this stuff that we're doing on this inside tour, only about 100 people per year from all over the world get to actually take this tour. So our friend Lukas has a big hookup, which is much appreciated. This is really cool that we're able to do this.
In the center, you have the control rod indicators. So these tell you how far in each control rod goes. Each number corresponds to a penetration in the reactor. So when you go to the reactor, around the edge of the reactor, it has all of the numbers, and you just match them up based on this. And then this tells you the numbers for each of the control rods. And the farther you push in the control rods, the less neutrons that are being produced, the less power. The more that they're pulled out, the more neutron multiplication is happening. Moving through the control room, you have your control operators panel right here. So this, he can individually select which of the control rods. Right here you have the AZ5 button. This is the SCRAM button. This is the automatic stop. You hit that button, all of the control rods from the bottom and all of the control rods from the top of the reactor come in. So this was the final operator action that took place before the explosion on the night of 1986. Some people blame that for the explosion. However, Dyatlov wrote very, very eloquently about how the reactor was already in an unstable state before this ever happened. However, this was the final action that was taken on the night. Akimov gave the order, the button was pushed, and they attempted to SCRAM the reactor. And that means to bring everything to a full stop.
Explosion, okay, it was just an earthquake, everybody relax, get back to work.
So that was the switch that was used to basically shut it all down that night.
Right. So if you hit this button, it drops all of the control rods from the top and from the bottom.
That button, the important button.
That's your brake.
That was like the brakes. And when the brakes failed.
Essentially, that's what happened on the night of the accident. Imagine that you're driving a car at 60 miles an hour to a stop sign. So you go to slow down, it's not slowing down, so you jam on the brakes, but instead of the car slowing down, it speeds up until it explodes.
And then we had an issue.
And then boom, 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 pow.
Boom, boom, boom.
During operation,
Absolutely the most incredible. I can't even fathom this room. Look at, it's just like, there's so much, there's no way I can even capture everything that's going on in this area.
This is the metal piece, so that's the top.
Well, it's going up.
Well, once a minute.
You're like my dad.
I could be, I'm old enough
What about
to be your
these things?
dad.
What about these things?
It's like you're swimming. And then, oh yeah.
Thank you.
And then form that, yeah, okay, now we're protected. And then gloves.
Oh, we
Can you
have,
get a picture of me now, sitting down?
how am I going to film with gloves?
How do people live with radiation? Sometimes you just can't.
So guys, we're gonna exit out now.
No, it doesn't matter.
We're gonna exit out, we're gonna go around, and this is an area where it's very important not to touch any of the pipes. There's a lot of dust in the area that we're going. The dust is contaminated. So just make sure that we stay in the...
This is the part where we die. Randy, latency. Remember latency. Latency. So we're going into a highly contagious zone. That's where we're going next.
Nice. Be careful, bud.
Be careful. Don't touch anything.
Careful, you too, friend.
Nobody is there.
Yep, that's all. Yep.
Only a block.
Guys, we're going into now what is one of the most sacred parts of the power plant, especially for the workers. So, this is the Valeri Khodemchuk Memorial. Khodemchuk was a main circulating pump operator. He was working on the night of the accident. He was killed by the explosion itself, and his body was unable to be recovered. And is still, this is the memorial as close as we can predict where his body likely lies on the other side of this wall. Quite a few other operators went back down that night to try and find him. At the time of the accident, he was only 35 years old. He was married. But this memorial is bigger than Khodemchuk. It's also a memorial for all of the workers who were working that night, who didn't abandon their shift, who continued working throughout the night, even though they understood that something was terribly happening to them, to everyone else that was working. One of the most interesting aspects of this memorial is his hands. His hands are actually his wife's hands. When the artist was creating this memorial, he was trying to find something that would really tie it back. So he went and found Khodemchuk's widow, and these are casts of her hands in his hands' place. And this is one of the most revered parts of the plant. These are 4 on this side. If you go through that hallway, on the other side there'll be another 4. So there's 8 main circulating pumps in the reactor. During operation, 3 would be running, 1 would be in reserve. So if one of the other ones broke down, then they would flip on that 4th one. Hands up. Now it says control, touch. Control. Now put your hands up and actually touch here. Now it says yellow, green. She's still.
Yes!
Way to go, Todd.
Well done.
I made it through.
We did it. We're not radioactive.
So once I cross over this barrier, that means I'm safe, right?
Yeah, you're clean.
Riding dirty.
So we're here, and we walk this whole thing to here for those pumps. That's the danger zone. That's no bueno. That's where we were. That's a long haul.
We survived.
Well, I mean, latency. We'll see.
Well, we latency, yeah.
You did?
No, I'm straight.
Thank you to Lucas for taking us. Lucas is the man.
Hey guys, so what we're doing now is we're going to a canteen. Apparently they have a bunch of Mexican food here. We'll have to see how it is.
Randy, this is for lunch. You have to get ready. You have to get ready.
I'm ready.
What is this?
It's like a type of kefir.
What's a kefir?
Is that gravy?
Oh wow, it is. No, thank you.
I'm on a diet.
Well, I don't think she understood me.
How'd you get that to fit? That's what she said.
A clear soup.
Let's taste it.